everyone, so if you're already using a vitamin A based product, a retinoid as we would call them, so something that contains vitamin A or retinol, this video is for you. So if retinol is already a part of your skincare regime, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more in depth on how we increase the amount or increase the usage of our retinol within our skincare routine. So for today, I'm going to be talking about kind of specifically cosmeceutical brands. So these brands are a mixture between cosmetic and pharmaceutical grade ingredients in them. So for this video today, I'm going to be talking about SkinCeuticals, I'm going to be talking about Environ, I'm going to be talking about Illumier and Obagi, which are medical brands, and also Advanced Nutrition Program, which is a skin supplementation. A couple of things when it comes to using retinol is to make sure that you are using something that has what we call encapsulated retinol. And what this means is that the retinol is protected with a coating around it, and that stops the retinol when it hits the skin from dispersing, going wherever it wants, and possibly causing irritation. So an encapsulated retinol is not going to cause major irritation to the skin, if any. Why do we use retinol, or why do we want to have retinol in a routine? Specifically, when we get to our mid to late 20s is generally when we start to introduce retinol into our clients' routine. For this reason, because I know it's not aging as such at all, being in your mid to late 20s, but from a skin point of view it is. So when you reach the age of 26, 27, there starts to be a depletion in the amount of collagen and elastin we produce. We start to reduce the amount of hyaluronic acid we naturally produce as well. So that's where we bring the likes of retinol into place to help stimulate all of that and increase our own natural exfoliation within our skin. So that's our cell turnover. So when our cell turnover starts to get dull and sluggish, we start to be able to, we're not able to get rid of that dull kind of sluggish first layer of the skin as well as we used to when we were much younger. Retinol has many different benefits, just to name a few, because there is a massive long list of them. But we use retinol for people who are congested or have acne. And there's different types of retinol and different formulations that we would use. So if you do have this type of skin, congested or acne skin, just don't run out and get any retinol that you see on the shelf. Make sure you lock in with a skin therapist, explain your skin type, or book in for a consultation, and they'll be able to put you on the right path and in the right way. Because if you buy something that's wrong for you, you'll end up having to buy something else. So go straight to the source. Come to Millies, get in contact with the girls online, and get the right advice for you when it comes to retinol. As I was going to touch on the benefits there, so the benefits are so we can with retinol help to even out texture, so improve texture in the skin. So by texture I mean a lot of the time, so I would have texture on my cheeks from having acne years ago, and you don't have to pick or squeeze spots in order to be left with a pitted scar. But generally what happens is, because the sebaceous gland is so deep into the skin, if there's trauma to that, so if a pustule bursts or anything like that, it can cause and leave a mark and a scar because it's deep in the skin. That's where we get that pitting. So retinol is fantastic to help retexturize and smooth out that surface of skin. And for a professional treatment, if you're looking to treat pitting in the skin, microneedling in salon is the best to help eradicate and improve the look of that as well. So pigmentation then in the skin, so especially in Ireland and with our kind of Celtic Fitzpatrick type skin, we can have a lot of people that come into us with pigmentation. But pigmentation does not just come from our environment. Pigmentation can be brought on due to stress, hormonal changes in the skin, medication, and different stages in your life. Like a lot of people post-pregnancy would maybe have pigmentation. And then we have the red type of pigmentation as well that you get from after those marks and spots on the skin too. So what retinol will do in that case will be speeding up the cell turnover. So pigmentation is very deeply embedded into the skin, and as we increase and bring healthy cells to the surface of the skin, we're helping to slough off and get rid of that pigmentation and marking on the skin. Retinol is also fantastic for stimulating the gags in our skin. So this is the area of the skin that's responsible for producing our hyaluronic acid. So as we get older as well, we produce a lot less hyaluronic acid. So retinol helps to stimulate that, and we have to produce our own hyaluronic acid as well as using it topically. It's important for our own skin to be able to produce it as well. Retinol is fantastic to help regulate oil control, so that's why you will see somebody with possibly congestion or acne on a particular retinol to help with that oil control if their acne is due to excess oil. Sometimes people have excess oil and not a blemish or not a spot, so that's why retinol can come in really handy as well. But don't forget that vitamin A is it's a vitamin that we have in all our skin cells, and when we are deficient in that, that's what causes these differences in the skin, the pigmentation, the deepening lines and wrinkles. So getting vitamin A back onto the skin is what we need to do on an everyday occurrence. You will see that most retinols advised to you by a skin therapist, a lot of them will be solely to be used at night time, and we'll always start off with the lowest strength, and then we will gradually build you up to a higher strength, constantly kind of pushing the skin and making it work better for us. I'm going to use Illumia as an example because they have a fantastic 3 different strengths of retinol. So we start off with 0.25. When we're introducing this into someone's routine, we're getting them to use it at night time on a clean, dry skin 2 to 3 times a week, or sometimes it's a bit handier if you say every 3rd night. Depending on the skin and depending on the client, I will have asked them the appropriate questions. I will know what else they're using in their skincare routine. I might say to them, I want you to use it every night. When they're on 0.25, we don't move on to 0.5 unless they are using 0.25 up to every single night and possibly have used 2 bottles of it before we move on. The reason we do this is to get your skin used to this particular strength, to get your skin comfortable with using this particular strength of retinol every night before you move on to the next strength. Then what I would do personally, if we're moving someone on, so they're comfortably using this every night, if we're moving them on to a 0.5, I won't get them to go in and use it every single night. It will be every 2nd night or every 3rd night, depending on how the skin feels. So it's very important for us to tell people as well to read your own skin. So I'm not at home at night applying your retinol with you, so I don't know how it feels. So if you're getting tightening, itching, redness, flaking, anything like that, it's not necessarily a bad thing. What we're going to do is just skip a night and then we're going to use it the following night after that. And all that is a retinoid response. So a retinoid response is your skin not particularly realizing what the ingredient is, or not recognizing it in that strength, and it's just not, it basically over exfoliates itself and causes that bit of irritation. Not a lot of people find it, depends, and again, I'm still going back to finding the retinol that's right for you, making sure it's encapsulated, it's of really good quality, and that you're using it the best way. So I'm using this as an example, so we will carry on to do this then. 0.5, want to be using comfortably every night, maybe possibly 2 bottles before we move on to 1. And we're going to continue that again, bringing in it gradually, and then eventually getting that client hopefully up to using this every night. If you're at the 0.5 stage or at the 1% stage and you're still feeling like, oh, I can't get over this threshold, and my skin is still being a little bit irritated, it's not tolerating it well, that's when your supplements come into play. And this is a fantastic tip. So if you are someone who can get to a certain stage of vitamin A application, but then you're finding that you can't get further, taking Skin Vita A internally as a supplement is really going to help, because don't forget, our skin is a double-sided organ, so we want to meet it topically with the products that we're putting above, but then supplementation is going to help feed and fortify that from beneath. So the same way that we've done the step up in the Illumia is the same way that we're going to do with the SkinCeuticals. So we're going to start on the 0.3, we're going to move on to the 0.5, and then on the 1%. Again, you will be back and forth with your skin therapist asking in this, because I will always say to my client, if they go home with a 0.3 from SkinCeuticals, I want them to come back into me when that's finished, or ideally when they're halfway through. When they're halfway through that bottle of 0.3, to let me see the skin, let me know how they're feeling. Are we increasing the nights that we're using it yet? And just get a bit of back and forth. I think coming back in and just asking a bit more of advice from people who are trained in the particular brand. Obagi, again, it's always going to be the same. We're going to start on the 0.5. Even if somebody comes into us and they've used a 1% and again, we don't want to fall into all these different percentages because each brand will have a different formula that makes up the retinol. So nobody can know absolutely everything that's in every retinol. So it's really important to listen to that advice and to follow it. So even though if you think you're on a strong retinol from another brand, we are always going to say, well, we're going to start you on their introductory level, so the 0.5, but we can move you up, and you can be moved up quicker if your skin is tolerating it and doing well with it. So 0.5 and 1% from Obagi. Now, if you're on the Environ journey, you're not using retinol within the AVST range. So it starts off with palmitate and we gradually increase the amount of vitamin A all the way up to AVST5. But now Environ have brought in retinols that can be introduced to the step up when you are potentially on your second bottle of 2 or AVST3. Again, lock in with your skin therapist and find out, because this will help speed up kind of changes and results that you want to see in the skin. Retinols are fantastic to be brought in. So if you're on AVST3 and all of a sudden maybe you're experiencing a breakout or, you know, a pool of pigmentation, that's when we bring in the retinol to really kind of supercharge the results and really specifically look after a targeted concern. So you come into me and we're having a chat about what you're on at the moment. You possibly on ABST3, you have a breakout or you have an area of pigmentation and you have an event coming up and you want something to really treat that and look after it. Then we are going to bring in the retinol serum, not that one, the retinol serum. So your retinol serum, you're going to do a pump of this in with your AVST3 at night time to begin with, every second night or every third night, depending on my consultation I'll have had with you. And we're going to increase that as we go along. So as your skin is tolerating it, as you're feeling nice, as you're seeing the results, a little bit of response can happen. Sometimes I find it happens more so on the neck because that skin is a little bit thinner on the neck area, but you're going to see a real change in your skin in plumpness, hydration, glow, texture, and evening out kind of overall skin tone. And again, there's always extra steps when it comes to Environ as well. So after you've finished your retinol serum, possibly a second bottle of it, depending again on your skin type, we can always up the ante then and go on to a stronger retinol, which is going to be your retinol serum forte. So even if you're on a particular cleanser or particular serum and you want to use a retinol, or you're using a retinol that you're not even 100% sure of, always come into us, always touch base with us. Let us know as much as you can in terms of information as to what you're using, and let us give you then the recommendation as to what we think will suit you. So again, retinol sometimes can come down to price point, it can come down to budget, it can also come down to lifestyle. So there's loads of things that go in, and that's why there's so many things that go in alongside a skin consultation before we're ready at the end to be able to recommend you particular products. But if you're on retinol at the moment and you are still using it only that 2 to 3 times, there's definitely something more that you can be doing with your retinol to really push your skin concerns and your skin results. So don't get stuck in a rut with that 2 to 3 usage and think it's going to fix everything. Ideally, we want to be using our retinol every single night. So depending on what that is, but always make sure you double check with your skin therapist first.